Salutations Rangers, General Bradley 101 here, back at you again with some more lore. And in today's video, boys and gals, we're back with our Is Your Faction Good? And today's faction, Coas. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the poster boys of Warhammer 40k for evil, bad, no goodness. Or badness, depending on how you interpret it. So, for those of you who don't know how this series works, one, we're going to be taking a look at what is Chaos supposed to be in lore, we're then going to be taking a look at are they indeed that, i.e. is the theory perfectly executed or is it poorly executed, and then finally we're going to be taking a look at is your faction overall a good thing for the setting, should they be changed, and anything else like that. So, without any further ado, let's get cracking on with today's video. Ah yes, Coas. Chaos, for those who don't know, is the main antagonistic force of Warhammer 40k. Now, while the whole tagline of 40k, there is only war and everyone is a bad guy, there are no heroes, etc., so on and so forth, everyone can agree, and everyone can agree that the most baddest of bad guys, and basically the bad guy of the whole setting, is Chaos. Because everybody hates Chaos. Chaos has forced the Imperium to ally with the Eldar, Tau, and pretty much anyone. Orcs and Tyranids as well don't really care for them. Not to mention all the other gods in the setting outright hate them. Chaos can be divided into 4 categories, with there being 4 major gods and some minor deities, but we're going to be covering the main 4 in this one. The first is Khorne. Khorne is your typical old Satan. He is the god of blood, murder, death, slaughter. But he's also supposed to be the god of combat, honor, strength, and martial prowess. Now I get to a point where a lot of people miss about the Chaos Gods. The Chaos Gods are supposed to be corrupted forms of the Warp. The Warp wasn't always space hell. During the War in Heaven, it was space heaven, with a little bit of it being space hell. However, eventually with all the blood and murder that happened over millions of years, the Warp would be corrupted and turn into space hell proper. Thus, each aspect of the 4 Chaos Gods represents the good and the bad, except that the bad has been superpowered and ended up corrupting the good. So instead of there being a little bit of bad and mostly good, it's mostly bad with a little bit of good. Or at least that's what it's supposed to be. But I get ahead of myself. Khorne's favorite color is red, and his number is 8. We then have Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the god of trickery, magic, scheming, and plotting. But he's also supposed to be the god of creativity, innovation, progress, and curiosity. Tzeentch's color is blue, and his favorite number is 9. We then have Nurgle. Nurgle is the chaos god of disease, corruption, sloth, entropy, decay, and undeath. However, he's also supposed to be the god of nature, of acceptance, of understanding, of contentness, and of happiness. Nurgle's favorite color is green, and his favorite number is 7. And then we have the youngest chaos god, and arguably the most chaotic, Slaanesh. Slaanesh is the god of excess, pure excess. Every single debauched, evil, taboo stuff that you could ever imagine. Slaanesh embraces it wholeheartedly. Now, most people interpret this as sex, and yes, sex has a big part to deal with it because it's one of the most pleasurable and fulfilling activities that a human being can indulge in. It's not only that, it is excess in every single aspect. Basically, Slaanesh is the god of intrusive thoughts. Imagine if you couldn't control your intrusive thoughts and you literally gave in to every single one of them. That is basically Slaanesh. But Slaanesh is also the god of joy, of fun, of art, of creativity, of happiness, of pleasure, of enjoying life. Just as in excess it is every single bad thing, it is also every single good thing. The excess part of Slaanesh will have you devour an entire buffet until you will literally die of overeating. But Slaanesh will also have you enjoying that little extra slice of cake even though you're a little bit too full, because it makes you happy. Both are Slaanesh, except one is far more excessive and thus deadly than the other. The Chaos Gods are, well, chaos. They essentially are the negative force acting throughout the universe, and their ultimate goal is to simply dominate humanity. Not destroy humanity, mind you, because if you destroy humanity, where will they get their souls from? But essentially, Chaos is the antagonist. What Chaos is supposed to be is an all-encompassing force. It's supposed to represent the corruption of one thing into another. As I said, a lot of bad, but enough good. They are meant to be the antagonist, but also the mirror of the Imperium. They're supposed to be complementing factors that mirror one another. You're supposed to see the Imperium act as one thing, see Chaos act as another, and see them both clash. But when they clash, you're meant to question who is truly right. Is Chaos truly right by trying to conquer this Imperial world, slaughtering millions? But the Imperium has these millions as slaves. Chaos wants to liberate them, but then is Chaos bad as well? Because while the Imperium does have them as slaves, at least they're safe and away from demons. The Imperium doesn't treat them that bad, you suppose, but they're still slaves. But is slavery better than being combined with a demon? And what about them? Some of them want to be demons, but do they not want to? It's meant to make you think. Or not think. In Warhammer 40k, you're supposed to feel two feelings. The first immediate feeling is, holy shit, that giant mushroom has an axe the size of God and is trying to kill that roided out Space Knight. But then when you look into it further, you start to unravel the bits of it and you see that, wow, this race of mushrooms were essentially demigods. But through the machinations of the world around them, they're now these ape-like primitive species devoted to only war. Their life is only war. And you're supposed to see the Space Marines as these tragic figures that were supposed to be the apex of humanity, but ended up being its harbingers of its greatest downfall. Both are valid, and you should experience both. You cannot experience one without experiencing the other. That's when confusion arises. But Chaos is supposed to be the foil of the Imperium. The Imperium is supposed to represent order. Not goodness, and certainly not justice, but order. I.e., it doesn't matter how you feel, it doesn't matter who did what, so long as the rules are followed, that's all that matters. And Chaos is supposed to represent the extremism, freedom, in every aspect, but freedom without any rules is just chaos. They're also supposed to represent their own unique aspects. Khorne is supposed to be bloodthirsty and slaughter-hungry, but he's also supposed to be noble and strong. Tzeentch is supposed to be a bullshit trickster and a magic MacGuffin man, but he's also supposed to be creative and innovative. Nurgle is supposed to be spreading disease and pestilence and be basically unkillable, but at the same time, he's happy, he's content, because he's just a simple guy. Slaanesh is supposed to have so much NSW fan art that's going to make you question since when the hell did they get all that time to write, but they're also supposed to be the type of person to create beautiful art pieces, masterpieces of just immense beauty that make you stop and awe and wonder, are these the same person? In addition to them being a foil for the Imperium, you can find both good and bad on both sides. But that's what they're supposed to be. But how well do they do that? Okay, big split in the video. Everything else I said is basically canon. It's been agreed upon by everybody, a little bit of my interpretation here and there, and the books support about 90% about what I said. So, whereas with that, you can take that with pretty much only one grain of salt. Everything from this on out is me spending hours looking into stuff, seeing if A plus B equals C. Does 2 plus 2 equal 4, or does it equal fish? And is that fish good, or is it bad? Alright, good? Fantastic. So, does Chaos do what it's supposed to do? Short answer, no. Long answer, also no. Chaos is one of the factions that has suffered most in recent years. If you look back in earlier editions of Warhammer, Chaos does indeed do what it's supposed to do. There are noble warriors in Khorne. There are beautiful artists in Slaanesh. There are content, happy men in Nurgle. And there are genius creators in Tzeentch. They are just doing it for their own goals. But nowadays, in modern Warhammer, Chaos has lost all of its depth. Chaos has been written into a corner. Every Khorne berserker you see is a Khorne berserker. Wild, bloodthirsty, predictable, you know what it is. Every Tzeentch sorcerer is the same old spiel. Power-hungry MacGuffin magic men and nothing else. Every single Nurgle is just basically an undead zombie. Slow, tanky, they have a lisp. Pretty simple. And every Slaanesh is just an emo girl with daddy issues. And a major drug problem. There is no depth to the characters anymore. Khorne is supposed to be the god of blood and murder, but also strength and martial prowess. He's not that anymore. There are no hints of Khorne's other side. They are supposed to be mainly bad, yes, but a little bit of good. It's just that little bit of light in the darkness that make you go, wait, hold up, that doesn't track real quick, let me think. But now, Khorne is just blood and murder and death. There's no redeeming nobility about it at all. You take a look at Khorne, Khorne's greatest mortal champion, and Khorne is just cooked. He's a berserker, and he's a damn good fighter, but that's all that he is. He's intelligent, yeah, but the intelligence, the nobility, the honorable warrior culture, that's kinda lost on him. He has his brief periods now and again when he may remember that, but those are few and far between and not always flushed out. Khorne is supposed to be the martial champion. You're supposed to have these dark knights dedicated to purely martial combat, but still have a little bit of their humanity left over. Something, anything. I'm not expecting them to be sunshine and rainbows per se, but hell, I'm expecting them to have something other than just blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. They're not supposed to be that meme, but eventually they've become that. I want to see the warrior warlord, who sees promise in young people, who raises them up, who shows some type of emotion that isn't just rage and anger. Something. And hell, you may be saying, oh, but Brad, the nails. Not every Khorne Berserker is a World Eater, not every Khorne Berserker has the nails. You could change it up a little bit. But no, Khorne has been relegated to being Unga Bunga Me Smash. Tzeentch is in the same boat. Tzeentch is supposed to be the god of creativity, of innovation. Tzeentch's plans are supposed to be years in the making, twisting and changing and manipulating fate. With his Tzeentchian sorcerer, he needs to be more than just power hungry. Every Tzeentch guy is an idiot who is power hungry, who falls into the trap and goes, oh Lamau, I forgot the fine print that says you may turn into bird. They're supposed to be men of genius. Geniuses are spurred by creativity, by curiosity. They need to discover. They need to be sorcerers who want magic to solve problems, to be better. There is no scientific curiosity in them. There is nothing. They're supposed to be men who you see and you go, my god, how far did you fall? You went from a doctor trying to cure an illness, to create a utopia of health, to being some madmen crafting gene sculptures in your laboratory. And while some may say, oh, but Brad, this story is from X and Y, how recent is that story? How prevalent is that story? That should not be one side of Tzeentch. That should be the whole cake, remember. Tzeentch is the corruption of creativity, the corruption of innovation. All the Chaos Gods are corruptions of good things. But why does it feel like they're just cartoonishly comically evil instead? Every Tzeentch guy is just some dolt who wants power and ends up dying. You look at the Thousand Suns. Every Thousand Suns sorcerer, they're supposed to have more to them, but they're always so one-dimensional. There's hints at them, yeah, but I don't remember the last time I saw a Thousand Suns sorcerer and I saw someone genuinely who I'm like, wow, that is different. I don't remember seeing the intelligence or the nobility of it all. I don't see a man corrupted, I see a fool who just wanted power. Nurgle falls into the same boat as well. All the Chaos Gods fall into this boat if you couldn't tell. But Nurgle is supposed to be happy, content. Nurgle is the chillest of the Chaos Gods, because he's supposed to be the happy god, the content god, the accepting god. He accepts the form. The reason why his boys are literally living corpses with their guts hanging out is because they accepted that this is how they look like. They accept that they're undead. They accept that they're not pretty, and they're okay with it, and they're able to live happy lives. But every time we see the death god on screen, every time we see any type of Nurgle, he is just horror. He's horror. He is the zombie horde. He is the death god poisoning the land. That is what he's supposed to be, but that's not all he's supposed to be. Where is the happy acceptance of it all? Where is the jolly Nurgle? Where is Nurgle, who is the most happiest Chaos God? Where is the Nurgle who genuinely loves his followers? Why is it that every time we see Nurgle, he is not the grandfather, he is the plague lord, the bringer of death and destruction? And yes, I know that is what he's supposed to be, but the whole point of this is that he's not supposed to be just that. The Chaos Gods are one-dimensional. They need to be two-dimensional. And Slaanesh has it worst out of all. People see Slaanesh, they're all like, sex god, simple as hedonist, pleasure, whatever, sex, that's it. I don't think GW even tries with Slaanesh. All you see is a hedonist given into pleasure. To my knowledge, I have never seen a Chaos Slaanesh anything where the character or the thing in question I looked at and I could be like, wow, that is genuinely beautiful. There is no weird hedonistic twist, there's nothing, it's just genuine beauty. There's always something that just mars it. Not to mention that Slaanesh has the habit of being beamed on to hell and back by the community. No one sees Slaanesh as the god of excess, they see her as the god of sex. And that's all she's become. A meme, a prop. That's all that the Chaos Gods have become. And I said it before and I'll say it again, I know they're supposed to be this. And in doing so, they nail it. GW nails Khorne's brutality, Tzeentch's corruption, Nurgle's decay, and Slaanesh's hedonism. They nail those like goddamn nails to a wooden board. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying though, is that what they get wrong is that they're supposed to be two-dimensional aspects, yet one dimension has overcame the other. But it feels like it's just been swallowed up and they're nothing. Now, whether or not this was supposed to be the case of, hey, Chaos has fully devoured itself, I've never read anywhere that's the case. I don't think anyone has. I think that's me just trying to cope with reasoning why Chaos lost all its shit. I don't know. But Chaos as it stands now, it does not match up what it's supposed to be. It is one dimension when it should be two. And all the characters fall into tropes, they just become villains. There's a big difference between an antagonist and a villain. An antagonist is someone opposing your protagonist. But that does not mean that they are a villain. just as a protagonist is not someone who is good. They don't have to be a hero. But it feels like 40k is falling into that trope of every protagonist is a good guy and every antagonist is a villain. And in doing so, the Chaos Gods have been reduced from complex themes that represent the idea of corruption into just 40k's villains. I often make the joke 4 different flavors of Satan, but that's basically what they've become. 4 different flavors of Satan. Nothing more and nothing less. But now we've answered what is Chaos? Does Chaos do what it's supposed to do? Now we can finally ask, is Chaos a good faction? And the answer is yes, if they were what they were supposed to be. As they are now, a good faction, kinda. In all fairness, Chaos as the evil bad guys, it does make sense, and it makes sense very well. The idea that they were once good and noble deities now fully corrupted and turned into malignant evil shadows of their former selves, that is a great idea. And yeah, it does work well for 40k. But I am going to be a little biased here. I prefer the older adage of mostly bad with a little bit of good. That is where I personally think they should be. But again, GW is still representing them as that. Again, to my knowledge, GW has not come out saying that the Chaos Gods have fully turned this way. They're supposed to be what there still was back in 2nd and 3rd edition. That is the interpretation that GW is supposed to go for. If that changed, then I retract my statements, and then yeah, they make sense as the characters that they are. But I feel like in 40k, it would make so much more sense for Chaos God, and Chaos as a whole, to be that two-dimensional corruption. It would be so much better for the setting to have Chaos not just be completely evil. Because as I said before, right now as Chaos stands, everyone, fans and people in the universe, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who or what you are, Chaos is always the worst choice. We know that. But we're not supposed to know that. It's supposed to be a question. Is Chaos the worst choice? Is Chaos worse than the Imperium? Are they worse than the Elder? Are they worse than the Orcs? But no. Everyone and their mother knows that Chaos is the worst option. Chaos will always be the bad option. Chaos will never be good. Chaos will always suck. Never be part of Chaos. The people who are only part of Chaos are idiots who got tricked, or poor souls who tragically fell into their clutches against their will. That's all that Chaos is. But that's not what they're supposed to be. Chaos is supposed to be the counterpart of the Imperium, and it's supposed to say, hey, yeah, they may have demons, but these guys are noble and strong. Are they really that? Is it really that bad? I mean, wait, are those really demons? Maybe those are angels. Maybe the Imperium's angels are the real demons. It's supposed to make you think. But that's not what we get. Instead, what we get are just villains. Evil villains. Ultimately, Chaos, as a faction, as it stands, I regrettably have to say that they are a good faction. They are the Satans of 40k. They are meant to show you how crazy, wacky, and evil it is. And in doing that, yeah, they are a good faction. I have to be unbiased here and say that they do that. As the ultimate corruption of evil, you don't get more evil than the Chaos Gods. But if I have to be honest, I don't feel right in saying that Chaos is a good faction. They're not a bad faction, by any stretch of the imagination, but to me they're just disappointing. You compare Chaos what they are now to what they were back in 2nd and 3rd edition, to me it's so much more compelling. One thing that a lot of 40k fans have hated over the years is the simplification of Warhammer 40k, the dumbing it down. Now, this mainly has come in the form of the tabletop game, where many veterans are upset that the rules are becoming babyfied, quote-unquote. They're getting way too easy and it's losing all depth, hence why a lot of them prefer Horus Heresy, which is based on 7th and 8th edition respectively. But I feel like what a lot of people seem to miss is that a lot of things in the lore seem to be simplified, and that's because, in my opinion, GW just forgets about them. They forget about what the Imperium and Chaos are supposed to be, what Space Marines are supposed to be, what Elder and Orcs are supposed to represent, so they just pick the meme option and dumb it down, so it can fit within one sentence. That is very much a personal opinion, and I don't know how much water that holds, but that's how I feel. I feel like there is no nuance to anything anymore. That, we know what the Imperium is, we know what Chaos are, and there's no mystery to it. The Imperium are not good guys, but yeah, they're the best option. Chaos will always be the worst option, and that's just that. Back in the day, though, I don't know. I truly feel like Chaos is the most disappointing of all Warhammer factions. And I know that you could say that about a lot of factions, but Chaos is the most disappointing to me, because at one point they were what they were supposed to be. In 2nd edition, they were exactly that. But eventually over the years, they fell from grace even farther. I don't know if this is a case of GW actively wanting to change the Chaos Gods and being that the one side has swallowed the other, or them just dumbing them down for the sake of, I don't know, posterity or whatever. But when I look at Chaos, I am just disappointed. Because it would be so beautiful to see two champions of Khorne clashing over a world. One is a warlord who prides strength and honor, martial pride over everything. He's not exactly a bundle of sunshine and rainbows, but he is noble. You can root for him. He's enough for him to be a protagonist against the Skulltaker of Khorne, a vicious berserker lord who wants to slaughter and murder everyone and anything regardless of whatever it is. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. Khorne cares only from whence the blood flows. That aspect of Khorne versus the noble aspect of Khorne, and see them conflict. Two servants of Khorne, but with wildly opposing interpretations. I'd love to see that. And I know that some of you in the comments may be like, hey, there's actually this book that does it. I don't want it to be a one-off book. I want it to be the main theme of all the Chaos Gods. I'm tired of people looking at Chaos and just knowing immediately, yeah, those are the bad guys, the Imperium is right. Even if it looks like the Imperium's wrong, no, it'll be okay. The Imperium is the lesser of two evils. I don't want that to be the case. I want the Imperium to sometimes be more evil than Chaos. I want us to look at the Imperium and be like, whoa, hold up, wait a minute, hold on, I thought these were the good guys. And then we can smile and say, oh my dear sweet summer child, in the grim darkness of the far future there are no good guys. There are only the lesser of two evils. And you gotta decide which is which. To me that just feels more exciting, more invigorating, it feels better. It feels like something that is worth me putting my time into. It feels like something that is worth thinking about. But that is not the case, sadly. But I suppose we'll just have to watch and wait to see what GW does with the Chaos. Are they eventually going to become one-dimensional, or maybe will they make a return back to 2D? Who can say? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for watching. I do love and appreciate you, but let me know down below, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Chaos Gods are fine just the way they are? Do you prefer them being one-dimensional? Or do you agree with me in thinking that while they are a good faction in terms of being the big bad Satan, them as the big bad Satan is not what they should be, it's just disappointing. Do you much prefer the two-dimensional aspect of mostly bad with a hint of good? Let me know down in the comments below. But I want to thank you for watching. I want to say a massive thank you to my wonderful members. Big massive shout out thank you to my lieutenant tiers, that being Mr. Eddie V3 and Miss Majora of the Void. Shout out to my sergeant tier members, Mr. Damiak, Mr. Andy McGee, and Mr. RB20 Guy. And a big massive huge shout out to my private tier members, Mr. Thomas Moslons, Mr. Ivan Score SVW, and Mr. Michael Hader. Thank all of you oh so very much. It means the absolute world to me that you guys are pledging yourselves to me, that you guys are like, hey, this dude does good enough, I want to support him. It is absolutely the world to me. And I do love and appreciate each and one of you. If you guys want to join them, make sure to join up on the memberships. You can access these videos a full day early, usually, you know, during the whole week of Brad's, whatever I'm going to call this thing before the 23rd, a Christmas special, Brad's Christmas special. That's what we're going to call it. Uploading them an extra day early is going to be kind of hard. I will try to upload them as earliest as I can, but I'm only human. But normally you get these videos a full day early and you get a bunch of extra awesome benefits, progress updates, schedules, behind the scene nonsense, special access to a special exclusive role on the Discord and exclusive parts of the server. So yeah, join the Discord so I can say thank you, it means the world to me. But remember, y'all don't have to do this. This will always be free no matter what, and you watching will be more than enough for me, and I will love you no matter what. Mwah! But ladies and gentlemen, I've been the General Bradley 101. Big shout out to episode 2 of Bradley's Christmas special. I do love and appreciate all of y'all. Make sure to stay strong out there, boys and gals. And I will catch y'all next time. Dismiss Rangers. Regardless of whether or not chaos is good, bad, or disappointing, people will always be horny for Slaanesh, and that is a fact.